need to hear this story.
Do you know the story of Cinderella? Who doesn't know her, a beautiful woman with a good heart? Her story is a perfect fairy tale. What if we change our usual story from a beautiful fairy tale to a terrible story? In a forgotten corner of a decrepit village, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. She was not the radiant beauty often depicted in tales, but a frail, ghostly figure with hollow eyes and a melancholic aura that sent shivers down the spines of those who crossed her path. Cinderella's stepmother was a malevolent witch who revelled in dark magic. Her stepsisters were cursed beings, their faces distorted and twisted by their mother's wicked spells. They tormented Cinderella relentlessly, making her life a living nightmare. One night, an invitation to the prince's grand masquerade ball arrived at their doorstep. The stepmother, seeking to seize an opportunity to advance her own dark agenda, commanded Cinderella to prepare her sisters for the event. As Cinderella worked tirelessly on their ghoulish costumes, a shadowy figure appeared before her. It was her mother's tormented spirit, imprisoned in a cursed mirror. She warned Cinderella of the impending danger, urging her to flee the house before midnight or be doomed to an eternity of suffering. Driven by fear and desperation, Cinderella managed to craft a disguise for herself and sneaked into the ball. The grand hall was a terrifying spectacle of flickering candlelight, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The guests, their faces obscured by grotesque masks, danced to a discordant melody that chilled her to the bone. The prince, hidden behind a macabre mask, seemed taken by Cinderella's haunting presence. They danced, and with each step, the clock in the hall ominously ticked closer to midnight. As the clock struck 12, Cinderella panicked and fled, leaving behind a shattered glass slipper. But this was no ordinary slipper. It was imbued with dark magic, bound to the very essence of her being. Days later, the prince arrived at Cinderella's home, brandishing the slipper. Her stepsisters tried to force their deformed feet into it, but to no avail. At the request of her stepsister that she was the one to fool the prince and lie to him about the slippers, she cut off the heel of her foot and put on the slippers, crying and saying that the slippers fit her. The prince got angry and left. When the prince finally turned to leave, Cinderella's chilling visage appeared in the window, sending him reeling in terror. Driven by a morbid fascination, the prince returned to the house at midnight. He found Cinderella's ghostly form, her eyes hollow and sad. Instead of being repulsed, he was drawn to her, captivated by her tragic beauty. Together they haunted the wretched home, seeking revenge on the stepmother and stepsisters who had tormented Cinderella. The villagers soon spread tales of the haunted mansion, warning their children never to venture near it. And so, Cinderella and the prince's restless spirits roamed the night, a reminder that darkness could wear a beautiful, eerie guise, and that sometimes the monsters were the ones who had been wronged.